All right, let's keep going with simple interest and spend a little bit of time learning how we can work with dates. Usually the rate is given as an annual rate. So like I said earlier, that means we're going to need to convert the time period to years as well. If the time is given in months, well, we'll just divide by 12. So 3 months would be 3/12 of a year. We've done that already, and that's pretty easy. But more commonly, I think, in real life, we're going to get dates, aren't we? People will say, oh, I borrowed some money on September the 20th or something like that. And so we're going to have to convert the dates or the date range into years. And what we're going to do is take the exact number of days and then we're going to divide by 365. Now, technically, that's not quite perfect, is it? Because it's just a little more than 365 days in each year as the Earth goes around the sun, but we're going to stick with just 365, and everybody else does too. That's called the exact method. And so we'll all be consistent. And if we're out by a few pennies one way, one calculation, it'll go the other way the next calculation. The world of finance works out just fine. So 365 is always your denominator. Now, how do we know the number of days between two dates? Well, there is a table you'll see in your textbook that you could use if you like, but an even easier way is to use the date function on our calculator. And so let's have a look at that. So let's have a look. To access the date feature on the calculator, we want to press second and then 1. That gets to the date function. You can see right behind the 1 it says date. Let's do that, second date. And it opens up. If you got a brand new calculator, it'll start with December 31st, 1990. That's DT1 stands for date 1, and along the top it says compute enter. That means we can either compute this value or simply enter it. I want to enter it. I'm going to put in January 1st, 2016. Let's see how we do that. Well, January is the first month, and then I put a decimal, and then I put 01 because I have to use 2 digits for the days, 01. And then 2016, I'm again only put 2 digits in. That stands for the last 2 digits of the year, so 16. So 1.0116 is January 1st, 2016. Once I've got it, I have to remember to press enter. And that will store it into DT1. And you can see it also changed the format, didn't it? We now have January 1st, 2016. That's my start date. Well, how many days would it be to, let's say, April the 15th? Well, let's see if we can find that out. You're going to scroll down with the arrow key across the top, and it says date 2. I'm going to put in, what did I say, April 15th? Let's do April 15th, and that's 4.1516. That's April 15th, 2016. Press enter. It goes in like that. Now I'll scroll down again. It says DBD, which stands for days between dates. We can compute that. Now that we have the first 2 in, there's 3 things here to worry about. Now that we've got the first 2 in, we can compute the third. So I press the compute key up in the top left. It says there's 105 days from January the 1st until April the 15th. It's just that easy. I could do a few other things though. What if I had a question where I said, oh, I entered something, maybe I took a term deposit out on January 1st and I kept it for 200 days. Well, what date would that be that I cashed it in? Well, what is 200 days after January 1st? I've entered January 1st already, remember? Let's scroll up twice. That's what we had for date 1. I want to find date 2. I want it to be 200 days between. So let's put 200 in for days between dates. I'm going to scroll up 1 to get to date 2, and this time I'm not going to enter it, I'm going to compute it. It says Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. That means July the 19th is 200 days after January the 1st. It even tells you what day of the week it is, which is especially helpful for finance since things don't happen on the weekend typically. And it's really that easy. I could also go in now, I could say, well, what's 200 days before a certain date? Well, to do that, I would enter date 2 and DBD and go and compute date 1. There you go. It's that easy. Have fun with it. We'll see you again next time. Let's try it out. How many days have you been alive? Go ahead and put in your birth date as date 1 and put in today's date as date 2 and then calculate the days between dates. I'd recommend you hit pause here and do that, and when you've got an answer, come on back and we'll keep going. Okay, so everyone's going to be a little different, of course. Some of you may be way up there like me, and others will be, many fewer days. Let's just go with 7,000 as an average, perhaps, for the class. You can use the real days that you came up with. I'll use 7,000. You just change your calculation a little bit. And what I'd like you to do next is answer this next question. How much interest, simple interest, would you have earned if your parents had invested $1,000 at a simple interest rate of 9% per annum when you were born? Go ahead and hit pause and try to calculate that. And then when you're ready, come on back, we'll take a look. All right, well, I got P is equal to 1,000. R is equal to 0.09. And T, I'm using 7,000. You can use whatever you had, 7,000, and I'll divide it by 365 to convert it to years. And then I should be able to calculate the amount of interest. Well, I is equal to PRT. It's one of our formulas we've already learned. That's 1,000 times 0.09 times 7,000 over 365. And that works out to be 1,726 and 3 cents. So if your number of days was close to 7,000, you'll have an answer close to that. If your number of days is 14,000, well, your answer will be double this, won't it? So you can kind of check your work that way. So if your parents had just put away $1,000 for you, it would have earned another $1,700 in interest, which means you now have $2,700, which would be awfully nice, wouldn't it? So again, just to remind you some things you can do to make things go a little easier for you. Take your time reading the questions, write down everything that's given and the unknown you're trying to find. Make sure you're working in consistent units. So if the rate's annual, convert your time to years. Use all the decimals during calculation. Only round your final answer. And finally, learn how to use the date functions on your calculator. That's going to really pay off for you. So practice that and make sure you're okay with it.